For one final time then, F1 2020 My Team heads back to Australia, ready for pre-season testing for the Australian Grand Prix. A few rule changes and a whole new calendar are bound to spice things up, ready for the final season here on F1 2020. And I cannot thank you guys enough for the continued support. I'll be honest, all the way back in Season 1, I was not expecting we get 120 episodes in to this series. By the end of the season, we're pushing up towards 140 episodes. It's by far and away the longest series I've ever done on the channel before. So yeah, a massive, massive thank you to all of you guys for the continued support on this career mode. Obviously, we've got some exciting stuff coming in the near future as well, so if you aren't already, do make sure you get yourself subscribed. We're trying to hit 15,000 subscribers as well at the moment, but yeah, make sure you stick around. This one, obviously, of course, we're going to be running through all the news as we get ready for tomorrow's Australian Grand Prix. Yes, the Grand Prix will be going live tomorrow, ready for Season 6's debut, and yes, some big news, some big talking points to get into over the course of this video. Now, of course, the first major news then is the shortened calendar ready for Season 6. 6 tracks have been dropped off the F1 calendar. I'll be honest, a lot of these ones, more tracks that I just wasn't a fan of, particularly on F1 2020. Maybe some tracks as well that haven't suited us all too well in the My Team career mode. So Vietnam, China, Hungary, Singapore, Russia, and Abu Dhabi have been dropped from the calendar. Means we still get our season opener in Australia. We head then back, of course, to Bahrain. Then we get a huge European phase of the year there. Zandvoort to Britain remains unchanged before we head to Belgium and Monza. And then, of course, we head back to Japan, Suzuka, an iconic circuit in the world of Formula 1 before we finish off the year in South America. Well, in the Americas overall as well. Obviously USA, then of course Mexico, and finally Sao Paulo. Of course the Brazilian Grand Prix has to be the backdrop for an F1 career mode, in my eyes, in my opinion anyway. But of course, having a look then towards the teams, obviously our team, first of all, 212 Motorsport, 4-time reigning champions now in both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. Can we go for a record equaling 5, obviously, that we saw from Michael Schumacher with Ferrari? I'd love to be able to do so. Obviously, no other team has won 5 in a row with both the same driver and constructors as well, and maybe, just maybe, Lewis Hamilton will be able to pick that up in real life. But of course, in this alternate universe, yeah, Hamilton hasn't quite come close to that sort of success. Obviously, rule changes ready for Season 6 have left us a little bit on the back foot, ready for the new year. By the looks of it, on paper, a couple of other teams that we'll obviously get into are looking just a little bit faster as we head back to Albert Park. But I'm sure, just like we saw last year, the battle between ourselves, Mercedes and AlphaTauri, will continue to rage on right through to the very end of this career mode. Of course, our new teammate Charles Leclerc alongside us as well, that has a very tough time with Ferrari over his years with the Maranello-based squad. Obviously, massively outdriving that car throughout the entirety of Season 5, then to pick up about 80% of Ferrari's points by the end of the year. They came close all the way back, if you remember, in Season 1. He did actually go into the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix finale with a, albeit very slim chance at the World Championship, and unfortunately, yeah, has just constantly been drifting backwards, not due to lack of own skill, but of course just due to Ferrari never seeming able to give him a car that Charles Leclerc, really deserves and warrants the use of as well. So it will be Charles Leclerc joining me for the final season on F1 2020. Of course, we've had Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, and Jordan King. Obviously, 3 legendary, either already or in the future, in my eyes, drivers, and of course Jordan King as well to kickstart this series. Will Charles Leclerc be the one that can take it right to the death and potentially try and steal the World Championship away from me and the team there? Or will, of course, he have to play second fiddle in the latter stages of the World Championship? Only time will tell. After an incredibly long spell between Mercedes and Williams, Valtteri Bottas has finally called it quits on his Formula 1 career and remains, I think, the only driver from last season to actually retire in the world of Formula 1. And that meant Mercedes brought back none other than Lewis Hamilton. Had an incredibly tough half season with Ferrari last year, obviously after moving to Red Bull. Obviously 2 years away from Mercedes. Certainly means that Hamilton's hungry to come back to a place that has given him so much success in the past. Clearly not done with the world of Formula 1 just yet. Hamilton wants another world title. He wants that record-breaking number 8 at the end of the day there. And obviously for him, he believes Mercedes are the team that can give him that still this late on into his Formula 1 career there. He is, of course, joined by George Russell, a Mercedes with 2 British drivers there. To be honest, this is going to be a battle that I'm really, really hyped to see who comes out on top with the Brackley-based squad there. Hamilton, of course, the old contender, you know, the old man that's always been there and has brought so much success to the team. George Russell, always the thorn in his side, you know, always the man that Mercedes have wanted to hire. So seeing these two go head-to-head, maybe George can learn some things from Lewis, maybe Lewis can learn some things from George as well. Of course, only time will tell as we get in towards the nitty-gritty of the World Championship there. But yeah, of course, Mercedes, though, sticking with George Russell, who has brought them a lot of success as well over the last couple of years. Obviously, missed out. Yeah, Season 5 was a bit difficult for Mercedes. You know, they definitely feel like they had a little bit more to give. And obviously, AlphaTauri rising up right towards the end of the year meant they have been working hard over the winter as well there. Mercedes actually come into Season 6 with, on paper, the fastest car in the world in Formula 1 at the moment there. You can see they actually just managed to nail the engine regs a bit better. All the Mercedes-powered cars did over the Honda power units of ourselves and AlphaTauri as well. So Mercedes, yeah, looking to be strong early on this year. Want to try and build up a championship lead and then hope they can hang on in the second half of the season as well. Next up then, of course, is AlphaTauri, one of the biggest surprises over the course of Season 5, and certainly a team that is looking very, very ominous as we head into Season 6. 3 wins even in the last 5 Grand Prix there, 2 in a row in Brazil and Abu Dhabi, meant that Pierre Gasly looked like a man on a mission as we get ready for the new year there. Like I just mentioned, Mercedes do come into the new season with, on paper, a slightly faster car than AlphaTauri, who are now looking like the second best team in Formula 1 at the early stage of the new year there. But of course, Pierre Gasly and Danny Kvyat there once again sticking with AlphaTauri, a lineup that has remained the same for so long now in this career mode there. It's only them and I think McLaren that have kept their driver lineups the same all the way since Season 1 of the My Team career mode as well there. But yeah, Pierre Gasly, a very, very strong number 1 for the team, really does get the big results there. Kvyat had a couple of shining moments last year, of course, rounding out that 1-2 at Suzuka for the team there, but just not on the same level as his teammate Pierre Gasly here. Are we therefore going to see that maybe cause a bit of stress in the teams? You know, this is their real big shot at trying to win a World Championship, or are we going to see finally Danny Kvyat get the results that we've always thought he's capable of as well there? And can we see Pierre Gasly go the distance over the course of the year there? Of course, he was in talks with 212 Motorsport towards the end of Season 5 and looking to try and make a move, but AlphaTauri gave him a very, very big deal there to try and keep him with the team for 1 more year there. AlphaTauri looking strong, looking ominous, could be a surprise package over the course of Season 6 here. Of course, we'll have to wait and see as to how things pan out. Next up then, of course, is AlphaTauri's normally older brother team in the world of Formula 1. Of course, we're looking to Red Bull Racing here. Had a bit of a quiet year finishing off in P4. Definitely felt like they could have got a lot more out of the car there. But they've actually kept their lineup of Alex Albon and Esteban Ocon. Obviously, Esteban making the transfer halfway through last year there, and Albon being a stable team member all the way back since 2020 as well. Whilst they've seen the likes of Max Verstappen come and go, obviously Red Bull and Albon have stuck together and been, yeah, again, a quiet, decent performing team. They were comfortably the best of the midfield over the course of last year, but I think we all know Red Bull should be at the front, should be winning races, and they certainly shouldn't be getting beaten by AlphaTauri there. Seem to have had a fairly decent winter. The pace doesn't look like it's drastically changed from the team. I don't think we're going to see them immediately up towards the front of the field there, but maybe, just maybe, we can see Red Bull get some good surprise results over the course of the year there nonetheless. Like I said, Ocon and Alex Albon sticking with the team. Maybe they can try and build themselves up, try and set themselves up over the course of the year there to really try and get back towards AlphaTauri's level. But yeah, Red Bull are looking a bit of a husk of a Formula team that we once knew in the world of Formula 1. Next up then is arguably the biggest surprise turnaround ready for Season 6. Racing Point are back once more, and this year they're really looking to try and get their car towards the front of the field. There's some big upgrades coming from the team over the course of the winter, and like we said, the Mercedes power units seem to have adjusted to the new regulation changes a lot better than a lot of other teams have been able to as well there. So Racing Point, yeah, could be a big surprise and maybe just be a thorn on the side of ourselves, as well as, of course, AlphaTauri and Mercedes at the front of Formula 1 there. They've got a very quick package. They've kept their driver lineup from the second half of last year. They're Guan Yu Zhou and still, of course, Lance Stroll, obviously son of the team owner there as well, sticking with the team for another year as well there. And yeah, Racing Point, they've had a few ups, they've had a few downs over the course of this series. We've really seen the highs, of course, those couple of race victories we saw all the way back in Season 2, and then they very, very much fell off form. Obviously, what they were always known for back in the day was being able to perform with such a small budget there, and always seemed to get the most out of every penny within the team there. And the last couple of years have been a bit shaky for them. Obviously, new investments coming in and everything like that have meant they are finally able to make a lot more progression again and really try and utilise all the expertise that they do have in the Silverstone-based squad there. And yeah, like I said, certainly looking like on paper they could challenge for podiums over the course of Season 6, but of course we'll have to wait and see how Lance Stroll and Guan Yu Zhou can maximise the car as well. Next up, of course, then, is going to be McLaren, and their driver lineup remains unchanged since 2019. I guess if it ain't broke, you can't fix it, is their mentality at the moment there. Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris back at the team for yet another year. It's kind of insane. I mean, this is, what, 7 years together now. This driver lineup has remained unchanged. And yeah, interesting team to look back at over the course of the last few years. There's, like we said, with Red Bull, doesn't really seem like McLaren have made any particularly big leaps with the Renault power units in the back of the car still at this stage of the campaign. Just quietly sort of stuck in the midfield. Doesn't really seem like Season 6 is going to be their year, in all honesty, but wait and see if they can obviously try and deliver a couple of big results. Obviously, if you remember back, they actually won just a single Grand Prix, if I remember correctly, over the entirety of the My Team career mode up to this point. And unless we get a very, very crazy race, I think that record is going to remain unchanged over the course of Season 6. Whether they can make a bit of progress, maybe challenge Red Bull a bit more consistently over the course of the year, we will have to wait and see. Obviously, like we said, racing points seem to be the big talking point of the midfield that might be able to try and get towards the front of your order as well. But of course, time will tell to see what McLaren can achieve. I'd love to see them try and bring home some podiums and race victories back once again, but not optimistic if pre-season testing is anything to go by. Renault are another team then that have certainly decided experience is going to be key ready for Season 6, and they have retained their lineup of Kimi Räikkönen and Sergio Perez, obviously after Perez came to the team halfway through last year. Like a lot of other squads, obviously the 12 races with them doesn't really feel like, obviously, they've been able to get fully acclimatised to their new environments there. And yeah, Perez and Räikkönen, I think between them in this hypothetical universe, have a combined 600 Grand Prix starts at this stage of their campaign, which is absolutely insane when you think about it as well. There, of course, Räikkönen, by far and away the most experienced man on this grid at the moment there, of course, does bring Renault some important information, but surely, I mean, at this stage of the year there, he didn't have a particularly strong Season 5. The question surely has to be, when on earth is he going to retire from the world of Formula 1? Whether he can still hang is another question. Obviously, Perez certainly coming towards the end of his career as well there, but of course, Räikkönen, if he still enjoys it and the team is still willing to pay him, fair play for staying alongside Renault over the course of Season 5 and into Season 6. Renault don't look particularly good, I'll be honest. They're battling towards the back end of the midfield. Of course, they sort of had that battle with McLaren and Ferrari of, you know, sort of the big teams, you know, the teams that should be winning the midfield battle, you know, the works engines as well, obviously, for Renault and Ferrari, but just didn't seem to deliver there. Again, just like McLaren, it doesn't seem like the engine regs have been too great for Renault as well, but of course, we'll wait and see as to how things pan out over the course of the new campaign. Arguably the craziest shock of this last season, of course, was just how poor Ferrari were at the end of the day there. And after an interesting gamble picking up Guan Yu Zhou at the start of the year, it was Charles Leclerc who really did carry the team there. Of course, Charles Leclerc heading over to 212 Motorsport ready for the new year does actually mean that Max Verstappen has gone the other way. So they have picked up a very, very experienced and very, very fast Max Verstappen for the second time, actually, in the My Team universe there. Obviously, Max Verstappen actually originally went to Ferrari and joined Charles Leclerc just a few seasons ago. But of course, like I said, the gamble with Guan Yu Zhou didn't really pay off last year as a rookie, and Ferrari have done it again. The only rookie of the new grid is Jack Aitken, of all people. Bringing the unlucky number 13 over to Maranello is surely going to be an interesting move, and surely one that we're going to watch out for over the course of the new season there. It does seem like out of Renault and Ferrari, Renault have done a worse job with the new engine regulation changes. Ferrari do seem to have made a little bit of ground, so maybe they can challenge McLaren and Renault over the course of the year as well. But I mean, P8 last season at the end of the championship was absolutely appalling for Ferrari there. You know, they need a big turnaround. Obviously, even Lewis Hamilton could barely score points in the car there. That 1/10th place at Silverstone was the only points he got in his 12 Grand Prix with Maranello as well. But of course, Ferrari are always a team that bounce back. It's always a team that you want to see do well in the world of Formula 1 though. They've had a bit of a slump over the last couple of years, but maybe, just maybe, Season 6 they can try and bring the car back towards the front of the field where, really, yeah, Ferrari do belong. Looking down then towards our backmarker 3 teams, and I'll be honest with you guys, there has been no driver transfers between Williams, Haas and Alfa Romeo, and honestly as well, it doesn't look like there's been much progress done by any of them as well. Obviously, Williams hopefully have had a bit of a performance boost. Obviously, that critical P10 from Nicholas Latifi last year did grant them their only points in Formula 1 over the course of last year, which gave them 9th place in the Constructors' Championship. But it just seems like Williams, Alfa Romeo and Haas so far off the rest of the field there. They need basically a complete re-scramble of all of the rule departments to stand really any chance of getting back up the order there. Latifi and Antonio Giovinazzi once again make up the team's lineup ready for Season 6. But again, yeah, like I said, such a massive drop-off from the likes of Ferrari, McLaren and Renault back to Williams, Haas and Alfa Romeo. If one of them can score that 1 point again this year, you know, it will be the difference, to be honest, especially in a shortened calendar. There are going to be less opportunities for the other teams to try and get those points back there. Of course, we always want to see Williams do well. I want to see all the teams scoring points, I'll be honest, even as obviously the owner of 212 Motorsport, but we'll have to wait and see as to what happens there. And again, you know, the same can be said for Alfa Romeo there. Jordan King and Nobuharu Matsushita making up their lineup ready for Season 6. Again, Ferrari's power unit hasn't made the same sort of strides that Mercedes has over the winter, so I think we're going to see Alfa Romeo and Haas really battling at the back there. We might see Williams with a little bit of a margin over the pair of them as well over the course of the year, but generally, I mean, these cars are so far behind the rest of the order that there isn't really much any of them can do at this late stage of the campaign there. Of course, you know, if we were heading in towards Season 7, Season 8, maybe a couple of these teams, you know, you could be looking at trying to plan for the future, you know, maybe some regulation changes, but yeah, really, I think it's going to be another quiet year for the backmarker 3 teams, unfortunately, as well. Of course, that just means the last team to run through then is, of course, Haas F1 team. They know a very, very quiet last campaign. Again, they've stuck with their lineup of Magnussen and Nick de Vries. Obviously, Magnussen now been with the team for so many years, and Nick de Vries, you know, still a young upstart who they're trying to sort of mould into this driver that can maybe score big results for them, but really he's just not got a stage where he's able to do so. Of course, like we said, maybe if they can just get one lucky result, even if it's not points, just to try and get P9 back on count back from Alfa Romeo and Haas could be, and Williams, sorry, even I should say, would be absolutely critical for Haas at the end of the day there. But still a team that's really struggling, still a team that it doesn't really seem like there's much hope at this stage of the campaign as well. Now, I hate to put a downer on these backmarker 3 teams. I always feel bad doing it, but it just doesn't seem like every year when we get new regulation changes or some new driver transfers, they just seem boring, they seem stuck in their ways, and again, unfortunately, it just means that nothing really looks like it's going to change at this late stage of this career mode as well there. But still, obviously, some exciting news up and down the order. I'm excited to see how Jack Aitken will get on at Ferrari. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton back with Mercedes as well there, and of course, how will Charles Leclerc fare alongside myself at 212 Motorsport as well. There's plenty to watch out for. Racing Point, like we said, seemed to be one of the big winners from the regulation changes. How will AlphaTauri be able to fare? This is really their chance to try and wrap up a world title as well at the end of the day, but of course we'll have to wait and see as to how things pan out. Like I said, round 1 of the new year will be starting very, very soon. Obviously tomorrow we will be back ready for the Australian Grand Prix there. I've got some exciting content, like I said, coming up over the next couple of weeks. I really do mean it, genuinely. You want to get yourself subscribed, you want to hit that bell notification as well to make sure you don't miss some of the upcoming videos. You know, we've got 6 weeks now until F1 2021 as well. You know, we're really on the grind for the last season of my team and of course the F1 2021 Alpine Mod Career Mode as well there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know which lineups you're excited to see perform as well. Let me know your predictions ready for the final campaign here of the My Team Career Mode as well. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow ready for Albert Park. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.